those of you that have been watching me a little bit of time, you may know that for a long time I put poetry on this channel. Intermittently, like amongst other things, but I was a real poetry head. And I still love it. I'm so bad at reading at the moment. I think after my degree, I just kind of burned out a bit. And I do Banging Book Club as well, which is me and Hannah and Leena's podcast, which I will link in the description actually. We do a podcast where we talk about a book about sex or gender every month. So I do read still, but I'm not very good at reading for pleasure and reading exactly what I want to be reading. However, I still get asked about poetry all the time, and especially kind of the best poetry books or kind of introductions to poetry. And so I thought today I'd do a quick summary of my 5 favourite poetry books. So yeah, if you're interested in just picking up some new poetry, or you just want to try it because you haven't, these are the books I'd recommend. Okay, we're going to start with a really obvious one for me. Anyone who knows me knows that I adore Bukowski. And this is my personal favourite of his, The Days Run Away Like Wild Horses Over the Hills. Do you know what I've just remembered? I have a really cool Bukowski new poetry book that someone's borrowed. Oh well, anyway, I'm going to track that down. Yeah, The Days Run Away Like Wild Horses Over the Hills. Bukowski was a prolific writer. He wrote so much. And I really get the feeling that he published all of it. And so you have to sift through lots of shit. Like, he was definitely writing multiple times a day. But occasionally in these kind of anthologies, you'll just find something and it's an absolute gem. And the ones that I really like in here, I like loads of them. I just love how bleak everything is. He's a very depressed 50-year-old alcoholic. And it's just the way that he can make words sound so sparse and sound so, I don't know, it's just great. As a 17-year-old angsty teen, this was the one. Moving on, I'm going to show you the Faber Book of Love Poems, which is by far my favourite anthology. I actually studied it in school, weirdly. That's the only reason I have it. But I repurchased it. I lost it and repurchased it because I loved it so much. And as you can probably see, like, this is worn. Like, I have looked through this endlessly. I think the way that Faber have curated these is immaculate. It's got a range of different, like, time periods, male and female authors, kind of some stereotypical and, like, expected poems in there, but loads that are a bit off the wall and I would never have discovered otherwise. One of my favourites is called, there's this amazing poem by Craig Raine called The Onion Memory, and it's all about a divorce, I think. Yeah, it's all about a divorce, but I just adore it. And so yeah, this book introduced me to so many amazing love poems. This is so expected. Anyone who's seen any of my, like, Instagrams or Snapchats in the past year will know that when I bought Milk and Honey, I just became obsessed with it. I actually flick through this and read it maybe like once a week at the moment. Rupi Kaur is a really interesting poet because I think she got famous on Instagram and then she self-published this, I think, I'm not 100%, and then, or published it on an indie publisher, and then it got picked up and now it's a #1 bestseller. It's called Milk and Honey and it's all about her life and experiences. I don't even know, it's just such short, they're almost haiku-esque, a lot of these poems, but they say exactly what they need to say in a really concise and beautiful way. It kind of follows a love story in its kind of chapters. There's like the loving, the breaking, the healing. And I love the format of it as well. I love, there's like little illustrations. If you are into feminist literature, if you are into anything about South Asia or race as well, and the like diaspora, or like anyone can get into this, I think. I think this is so relatable, so accessible, especially for like our generation. Next is one that I think some people might think is quite obscure for me, but it's The Madness Files by Andrea Gibson. She's one of those poets that you can always find on YouTube. Like, most people go and like watch her. It's like not slam poetry, but she's very emotive when she speaks. And my old housemate like showed me this book and instantly I went out and bought it. I've seen her live in Oslo and Hackney. And I just adore her love poetry. She does love poetry like no one else. She has a beautiful, beautiful way with words, and is very emotive. If you're interested in LGBTQ plus poetry, if you're interested in love poetry, political poetry, activist poetry, then Andrea Gibson is the one. My favourite poem in this one, I think, is Maybe I Need You. Love isn't always magic. Sometimes it's just melting, where it's black and blue, where it hurts the most. I love this so much. And finally, we're going to talk about what I think is an absolute classic. I don't think I ever studied this though, weirdly. But Allen Ginsberg is a beautiful poet. He is a 1950s beat poet. And I've still got, do you know what actually I do when I'm like really feeling like I need to calm down, is I listen to the old recordings of him reading some of his poetry. I've got some from 1953, I think, somewhere on my computer. He just has the most soothing, beautiful voice. Anyway, that's not why I love this little collection of his. I love the poem Howl, which most people will have heard of if they're into poetry. And it's this kind of, I can't really explain beat poetry. It's just like, if you can see, this is very wordy, but it's very political. It's very visual, and the sound of the reading of the poem creates momentum. However, my favourite is A Supermarket in California. I just think that is a funny, light-hearted, but like also intelligent poem about walking through a supermarket in California. And I love California. I went there a lot when I was younger because my surrogate grandparents lived there. It just reminds me of all the weird places I went to, like driving through Big Sur and stuff like that. If you want some classic poetry, again, it's really political. It's LGBTQ+. I think he was gay. And so he was writing about his experiences more politically with his orientation. So yeah, those are the 5 poetry books that I thought you might enjoy if you want to get into poetry, or if you already like poetry. Those are my recommendations. This has really inspired me to go and read some poetry now on the tube when I go to my meeting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you in my next video.